Hey, this is JC and welcome to Small Brick City. This is the pilot episode of Brick Talk, a time I talk about bricks. Specifically, I'll be talking about Lego, creativity, and more. This could possibly become a regular series, but it really depends on you. If I get positive feedback and there's a demand for such a series, I will produce this on a regular basis. I also intend to make it a podcast, which basically means it's an audio version of this video, and it'll be made available on all podcast apps. Currently, there aren't many Lego podcasts around, so I think this might fill a void in that particular space. My YouTube channel, Small Brick City, is currently the 136th best Lego YouTube channel in the world, so I'm pretty confident I can make the podcast crack at least the top 19. So let's first talk about Lego, specifically Lego sets that I like and sets that I don't like. If you're familiar with my channel, you know that I focus on building custom Lego cities and building MOCs or even modifying official sets to fit into a custom city. And my focus, of course, is on building a Lego city in a small space, but my ideas and approaches can apply to a Lego city of any size. So, based on that, anytime I look for a Lego set, I'm always looking at something that I can incorporate into my custom Lego city. So that's kind of my bias. So I don't really have any spaceships, I have no interest for Star Wars builds. I look for city builds and creator sets, generally anything that can fit into my Lego city. So of course I buy all the expert modular buildings, and I also look at city sets and creator sets. And when I look at those sets, I look at the mockability. Yes, that's a word I've invented, mockability. And that means the ability to create a mock out of that set. A mock is my own creation, which is basically a custom creation or a modification of an existing set or something you build from scratch. So I do look at these sets and see if I can possibly mock it to fit a building or to be able to fit into my Lego city. One recent example is the Winter Village Fire Station. In its original form, I think it's pretty nice, but it does leave some things to be desired. I didn't really like the shape, I thought it was a bit too stout, and it also has an open back. But I did feel there was a high level of mockability, which is why I got it. And I did indeed mock it or remock it, and I made it into a modular building. You can check out my YouTube channel for a review of that particular remock. Of course, I don't just confine myself to Lego buildings. I'll look at all Lego sets and I'll see if I can fit them into my city. Sometimes it does take a bit of creativity to see how you can fit a particular set into a city, even though it may not be apparent from the start. However, probably one range of Lego that I just don't get are the brickheads. Maybe you can tell me what's so great about the brickheads. I do see that they are a form of the SD Japanese figurines, which is the super deformed figurines. But I personally, I don't get that, so I don't get brickheads as well. So if you do like brickheads and you aren't afraid to admit it, please let me know in the comments why you like brickheads and why it's a thing. That brings me to the question on creativity. Is creativity innate? That is it part of nature, or can it be nurtured? Let me give you my thoughts on it. For those who don't know, professionally I am an illusionist, which means I perform a large-scale magic show. And I've basically been in the creative field all my professional life. I'm also an illusion designer and a designer of theatrical props. So basically my life does revolve around the creative arts, whether it's designing, performing, writing, or producing. Now, I do think that when it comes to creativity, there is a certain degree of it being innate or being part of nature. And you can see this with certain creative individuals where they can create something, whether it's something artistic, whether it's a product, a piece of art, music, dance, or a Lego creation, and they can just do an amazing job even if they don't have formal training. They just seem to be able to do it. And often they won't be able to explain how they do it, and that's because it comes naturally to them. So I do believe that creativity is innate. However, for those who don't feel that you're creative by nature, I do also feel that you can nurture it. You can nurture creative processes. You can identify how to be creative or how to create a creative product, and you can hone these skills and become creative, or at least you can develop creative products even if you may not be developing your innate creativity. For example, myself, I don't think I'm innately creative in the sense of being able to create something from scratch out of nothing. I do find that I work for it, I identify creative processes, I learn a lot, and I build up my vocabulary of creative techniques in whatever I do, whether it's magic or whether it's building Lego MOCs. So I do a lot of research, I do a lot of experimentation, and I put in a lot of practice. So I do put in the time. And I find that I'm actually developing my creative processes, my approaches, and sometimes there's some formulas that you can apply, at least at a basic level. And this helps to develop my creative output. So personally, I think you can put in the work and the time and you can nurture your creative processes, and what this does, it actually elevates your creative output. So the product of whatever you create, whether it's music, whether it's dance, a show, or Lego creations, you can develop a certain high level of creative output. And in fact, if you work hard, you may actually even have a higher creative output than a person who's creative by nature. Because they may be creative by nature, but they may not have a high output because they may not work as hard, or they may not spend as much time developing a creative output. So while they will still be more creative than you at an innate level, or by a purely natural level, you could create a higher level of creative output. The key to excel is to focus. And let's just take Lego for example. If you think about building Lego creations, you can build almost anything. You can focus on cars, buildings, contraptions, technique builds, art pieces, trains. There's just so many things you can build. So if you want to try to develop your creative output in one area, you should focus. And focus on something that you like, and focus on something that are your natural strengths as well. I think Bruce Lee said it the best. I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. So focus and you can develop your creative output from there. Well, that's it for this pilot episode of Brick Talk. Let me know what you think. Is this something you'd like to see turned into a regular series? And if so, how long do you think this particular program or episode should be? Personally, I do like podcasts and I do listen to them all the time, and I do favor longer episodes, even up to an hour or two. But I know not everyone likes long episodes. It seems like a lot of people do like the 20 to 30 minute episodes. But I'll put it to you, how long do you think this particular series or episode should be if it becomes a regular series? Please let me know in the comments, as it will really determine if I move this forward to become a regular thing and whether to make it a podcast. Well, thanks so much for watching, and thank you in advance for your comments. And if you liked what you saw, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't, please subscribe to this channel and turn on the notifications. This has been Brick Talk. Talk to you soon.